Well, welcome back to 3D
Yes.
Sportscast.
3D.
At this point, we're about at mid-season. We're going into week 9,
Yep.
and there's 18 weeks in the season, so
That would be
that would be mid-season.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, we're going to react and kind of compare to the current standings our preseason predictions of what the playoffs we thought the playoffs were going to be. There's some good picks by
Some not
us
so good picks
and some not
either.
so good picks. As we've talked about before, the NFL is very unpredictable, and that's part of what we like about it. It's always fun to you never know what's going to happen.
Pretty well for some people.
Hey, both of our teams are looking pretty good right now.
Well, nobody expected my team.
That's true.
Though.
The expectations were low, as you'll see. We did not.
We could lose
No.
every game for the rest of the season, and it would still be better than we thought we were going to do.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
And who thought the Browns were going to beat the Ravens?
yeah, this week,
That
that
was
was
crazy.
nuts.
We may talk about that later, but
Anyway,
into the predictions. We're going to
Yeah.
start with my team's division, the AFC East.
Mm-hmm.
So, Bills sitting pretty right now.
I
6
think
and
They
2
have as many wins as the whole rest of the division
combined. So
there's really, we kind of knew how this division was gonna go as far as the winner for the most part, at least with them. I thought the Jets were gonna win. I don't think anybody thought. I think people
Yeah.
knew they maybe weren't gonna be great, but I don't think anybody expected them to
this
be
bad.
as
No,
bad as they
I agree with that. I didn't believe in the Jets like a lot of the media did. But I agree with you. I did not expect them to be this
It's
bad.
not good. Aaron Rodgers is definitely 40 years old.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can tell. He's very frail.
He's not the Aaron Rodgers he wants. He's not MVP Rodgers. I don't even think he's like Pro Bowl Rodgers. He's like
No.
Yeah, he's
a 40-year-old
yeah.
guy playing
He's just
football.
a-
Yeah.
Quarterback.
But
So yeah,
and then the other thing is the Dolphins. I mean, I think we can get to them later. We'll go over the division winners or conference winners and
yes,
stuff,
yes.
and then we'll get to the wild cards.
So in the East, I had the Bills. Devin had the Bills. You did
I
have
had
the Jets,
and did not age well.
as we just discussed. But I guess if you want to go down the division, we could.
Yeah, we'll just do
Yeah.
the
As far as
conference winners or
I did
division winners
I did
first.
have the Dolphins as a wild card, and you had the Jets and Dolphins as a wild card. You still had the Bills make the playoffs as a
Yeah,
wild card.
obviously the Bills for sure were going to.
But yeah, the Jets are a big disappointment. But also the Dolphins. I know a lot of Dolphins fans and people would say, "Well, Tua's been injured."
Yeah, well,
but even with Tua, they have
back,
not been good.
like, their offense has not been explosive. Well, and the really funny thing was their defense had been playing pretty well while Tua had been out. He came back this last week, and their defense was atrocious.
And
Like,
So it's like, is Tua really even though gonna ever be 100% again? Though I don't know.
yeah, that
Because
too.
even if he's healthy per se, is
his
he?
brain.
One more,
is
well,
I
one
don't
more
know.
hit could be,
mush.
yeah, you're
He's
done.
gonna
Your season's
he's
done
gonna
again.
get hit one more time. His brain's gonna come out his ear.
I don't know.
Well, the thing is the fact that now the NFL's allowing players to wear guardian caps, and he's with his
They should
history of.
implement a policy where if you get 3 concussions, or really 2,
They should- yeah,
if
they
you
should
get 2
require it.
concussions, you need to wear a guardian cap. It should be forced.
Yeah,
Just
so,
for player safety. It looks stupid, but take care of
worth it.
yourself.
yes.
There's no amount of money worth having no brain. So
So yeah, as far as the Dolphins go, I think they're still kind of riding. Well, they didn't make the playoffs last year, and I also think they're still kind of riding high on the beginning of last year when they scored 70 points in that game, and everyone's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, the Dolphins!" And then
Well, like we
remember
always
what happened
say,
the
they
very
can-
next week? We beat them, and they
Yeah, and then they
well, not
kinda-
only that, but they still had a commanding lead in the division, and they choked it to us at the end of last year, and then they just completely fell apart.
Yeah,
So
we've always said it that like they can do well against the bad teams, but it's like
Yes.
well, it's not
they
even
beat
really
up on
this
the
year,
bad
but-
defenses.
not only the bad teams, but in good conditions too.
Yes.
They have to play on the road in bad conditions or against good teams. That's when they really.
Yeah.
So and also we don't need to talk much about the Patriots.
None of
We
us picked
all
them.
thought they
expect
were
them
going to be
suck.
bad.
Drake May has played a couple games
Now, he
now, and
got
he
concussed.
actually, aside from the concussion,
Yeah.
he has looked very
Yes.
good. He has
Well,
looked very
and they
good.
beat the Jets.
And they
so
beat the
who
Jets
knows?
this past
Yeah.
week, so a good win for them. We were talking about before we started recording about the meme of from The Office where they're shaking
Oh,
hands.
yeah.
It's like
It's like
no
zero
expectations, high expectations for the
2 and
Jets,
6
and both are
after
2 and
8
6.
weeks.
So I guess that's really
Yeah.
it for the AFC East. Now, if we get to the AFC West, unfortunately, the Chiefs.
Yeah, the Chiefs.
We all picked the Chiefs to
yeah,
win,
Which
and
is gonna happen.
now I'll say this: they are the best team in that division. But the fact that they're still undefeated,
That's insane.
If you watch the games, though,
They're
there's
not-
been so
Well, I
many.
think-
They haven't looked good, but the thing is, I hate saying it's rigged because I don't think it is, but
No.
they are not helping their case with the Chiefs this year. There have been so many things where it's like that's not a rule, or it's like you've never called that before. Like, why are we calling that against these people?
Yeah.
Or
I think-
missed pass interference calls and stupid crap like that.
And I think I heard that 6 of their games, or at least 5, have been
Last second
have
decisions, made, like last turned over touchdowns,
have been decided by
or
7 or
whatever,
less
yeah.
points.
by also one possession
Yeah,
game.
one
Yeah.
possession.
Mm-hmm.
So
And it's
yeah,
usually
they're
a bad
not
call.
they're not blowing teams away. That's the
No.
big takeaway. So,
So yeah.
but the Broncos.
Yeah,
actually, you
I
had the Broncos
them
as a
going,
wild
and
card.
that looks like a great
It is.
pick because
Yes.
the Broncos have Bo Nix has been playing well, and the Broncos have looked actually very good. Their defenses look phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I could totally see them getting in that wild
Yeah.
card spot.
It's a good
So, and the Chargers have not. They're just week to week. They're kind of confusing.
Yeah, well,
Okay,
it's
but-
it's Harbaugh's first year back as a head coach. We're still trying to figure things out with Justin Herbert. He looks really good, but
He's
who's
also
he
been
for?
injury
He's
prone.
been injury prone.
All of his weapons from his
who's
first
he
couple of
been
years
thrown
are
to?
gone. McConkey, the rookie from Georgia, had a good game this past week, but still, he's a rookie. Dobbins has looked good, but
Yeah.
just not a lot of consistency, and that's kind of hard to predict
Yeah.
what
I
the
mean,
Chargers
they
are
do
going to
still
be.
have a winning record. They're not playing bad. They do have over plus 40 point differential, so they're playing well. It's just there's a few things missing. You can tell. I think I would almost expect them to make a move before the trade deadline for maybe a receiver or something like that because they really just don't have anybody for Herbert to throw to.
Well, think about it. We talked about this, I think, in our preseason predictions when we talked about them. It's like all their Eckler's now with you guys. Mike Williams is with the Jets. Keenan Allen's with the Bears. All their big name
Are gone.
weapons are not there anymore from the past couple of years.
Yeah,
So
the people that were around Herbert when he had that 5,000 yard season are gone.
yes,
So the fact that they're still playing okay,
It's impressive.
they're in the
yes.
mix still. So there's that.
I mean,
But
you're
yeah.
giving credit, but
And then the Raiders are currently last in that division, which we
They're
all, I think,
bad.
expected.
I don't.
Actually, I don't think we expected them to actually even be this bad. We didn't. None of us picked them to be a playoff team, but
Yeah, I think they have the worst defense in the AFC.
they're just not.
The second worst behind the Jaguars,
Which,
which is not good.
Yeah.
But
I mean, they have some players here and there. Obviously, they traded away Devontae
Mm-hmm.
Adams, but still, they
for
just.
the most part, though, the AFC West is really kind of falling how I would say most people
Yeah.
expected.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
say I think the Broncos are doing better than most people expected them to do. I mean,
I
I
agree.
had them as a wild card
Yeah.
team, but I did not expect them to be playing as well as they are
I
at
agree.
this point in the season.
I totally agree. I think, yeah, I mean, Chiefs being on top is not a surprise, but the fact that the Chiefs are on top at this point, still undefeated,
Yeah.
and the Broncos and Chargers being still, having a winning record this far.
teams honestly could make
Yes, it's kind of a
the way they're
surprise, but,
playing. I expect the Broncos to make it and not the Chargers, but
other than that,
yeah, especially
Not much
with
more
the
to say.
division
Yeah.
we're going to get to next.
now this division we were talking about was going to be a confusing division because we thought they were all good.
yeah,
And there's been a couple teams that in this division that have underperformed. First of all,
Yeah.
the Ravens are not on top of the division right now because they just lost to the Browns.
Lost to the Browns, which
We
We all
picked.
picked the
We all picked the
Ravens.
Ravens to win, which is still very.
I still
should,
think they
could.
will.
Yeah.
I think last week was the Browns switched to Jameis Winston. No one had seen him play yet in
Yeah.
a while. They were kind of going into it expecting a cakewalk, and anytime you do that,
And it's-
always
and it's
risky.
still a divisional
It's still
game on the
divisional.
road.
And the Browns do have a very
A good defense, yes.
You can't take that away from them, no matter how bad their offense has been. So I think the Ravens will brush off the
Yeah.
loss, and it won't even matter.
Well, they got Nick Chubb back too.
Yes, they did get
Mhm.
Chubb
So
back.
that's helped.
They,
Yeah, Chubb and an actual quarterback. So
yeah.
that's a big difference.
But the Steelers are on top right now after their win
They
over the
are
Giants.
playing phenomenal.
And they
I
are.
picked them in the wild card.
And Devin picked them in the wild
Yeah,
card, which is.
I
looking
picked
very
the
good.
Browns in the wild card, which is looking awful.
But again, the Browns were one of those teams. The Browns were a playoff team last year. We
Yeah.
did not know Their defense is still good, but they
Well, and the thing
struggle.
is, the way Winston played last night or on
Sunday, yeah.
They might still make the playoffs if he can throw for 300
mean-
yards every time. I mean, you seen what Flacco did carry them
Yeah,
the
yeah,
last couple weeks. They won out.
Oh,
They
There's
made
still
the
a lot of
playoffs.
season.
I mean,
And Deshaun Watson
like I said,
has
we're
now
only halfway
played
through.
19, I think it was, or almost 20 games with the Browns. Has
Yeah.
not yet thrown for 300 yards. James Winston comes in
One
first
for one.
game and does it.
Yep.
So,
Well, especially when you look at the way the Bengals have been playing in the AFC North, they have not been playing good. Joe
Yeah.
Burrow has looked phenomenal,
but their defense,
but their
has been
defense has
terrible
been so
now.
bad it doesn't matter.
And the Bengals are a team that I picked in the wild card. I think
That's
I
not
was the
what
only
you
one that
did.
picked them. Now, again, they're another one of those teams I thought were going to be better than. Now they still have a shot. If
Well,
they,
the thing is, this is actually the best their offense has played in a couple seasons.
Mhm.
Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase actually have the most receiving yards together, like
or passing,
and
receiving, yeah.
yards that they've ever had together. But their offense is playing so bad, or their defense is playing so bad, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They can't stay in games. I mean, they literally, Joe Burrow has to play an absolutely perfect game for them to stay in it, and that's, you just can't ask that of your quarterback.
Yeah, you're right. And we've seen it a couple times this season where Joe Burrow's stat line is awesome.
Well, look at the
But
game
they
against
lose.
the Commanders,
Yeah.
for instance, right? Joe Burrow played extremely well, but it didn't matter because their defense let the Commanders. I mean, and don't get me wrong, the Commanders played extremely well
Yeah.
that game. Jaden Daniels had a good game. I mean, it was a very, it was a close game, but, their defense just gave up too many points, Joe Burrow you can't have all of the team on your shoulders at all times when you're only playing
Yeah.
offense, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Joe Burrow can't go out there and play defensive lineman or defensive whatever, So what are you going to do? But because, like I said, this has been Burrow's best season. I mean, he's looking like MVP.
Yeah.
He's not going to win it because his team sucks.
Yeah.
though.
Well, and that's kind of what I've said about Josh Allen. Everyone's like, oh, he can't win a big game.
Mm-hmm.
It's a team sport.
It's a team
Football's
sport.
a team sport. You only play one side of the ball, and you can play great as a quarterback and still,
It doesn't matter.
I mean, quarterback obviously is an important position, but
They
it
get
just goes to show
too
you don't.
much pressure.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of where the Bengals are right now. I mean, we'll see how the rest of the season plays out for them, but right now
It's not looking good.
it's not looking great.
Not looking
So,
good. But moving on to the last division in the AFC is the South.
which
And this is
we all did pick the Texans.
I think this is going almost exactly as I expected the whole division to go. I expect the Titans to be a little better.
They're really
they're
bad.
1-6. That's really bad. I do think the Titans are better than the Jaguars.
Well, think about the games that we talked about before when Will Levis was in. That they really should have, could have won, but
He
you
just had
just
a bad turnover.
a turnover
at the
killed
wrong
them.
time.
Yeah. And
He's
so-
playing like a rookie. I know he's not a rookie. He is a second year, but he
yes.
only played 4
He's
games
still
his
playing
first year. He's
inexperienced.
injured.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, he's shown flashes of brightness, and I definitely think they're better than the Jaguars, who are 2-6. The Jaguars have looked atrocious.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say about the Jaguars as far as
Trevor Lawrence,
Yes.
every single year it's always been, oh, well, it's a prove-it year. This has got to be the last year of that. At this point, if he doesn't play well, and I get he doesn't have weapons and this and that, but he really hasn't even shown – he's shown a few times that he is a good quarterback, and he would be better, obviously, if he actually had people to throw to and a good O-line and stuff like that. But he still hasn't been good. I mean, he's looked like a second-year quarterback, and it's his 5th year, ain't it?
Yeah, you're right. He is not. And again, there's more issues in that organization than just Trevor Lawrence, but
Yeah, and honestly, and I don't even know if it's him. It could just be coaching. It could be the whole
but he
organization.
certainly has not helped
Yeah.
out the situation.
No.
We talked about Burrow and how well he's played, and the rest of the team has kind of let him down. Trevor Lawrence has not played up to
No.
his standard, so
He's played to the same level the rest of his team has played, which is bad.
and so the Texans are going to probably win the division. They're at the top right now. Interesting, they have a couple injuries. I know Nico Collins has been out. Diggs is now done for the season. So we'll see how that plays out. The Colts, who are actually second in the division, Anthony Richardson now has been benched for Flacco.
Probably better. Joe Flacco is
And
the GOAT.
I will say, I did pick the Colts as a wild card team.
You did.
We'll see.
So,
I think we all picked the Texans to win.
Yes,
I don't
we
think
did.
that was ever a question. The Texans are playing great. like you said, other than a few injuries.
Yeah.
But CJ Stroud is having a great
Yeah,
sophomore
he's still.
season. I think he had the worst game of his career a couple weeks ago, where he had like 80 yards or something.
Yeah, he did not look. I mean, but again, for a quarterback that's in his second
This is
year, you're still
sophomore
going to
season.
have
I mean,
ups and
he
downs.
was so good last year. It's like, oh yeah, he is just a sophomore. this
Yeah,
year.
exactly.
He's human.
Yeah. Well, he's not gonna throw for at least 200 yards every game and 3 touchdowns. That's nuts.
Well, and again, being in this division,
Yeah.
they should win it. And
Yeah, they definitely are helped by a weaker division. Again, the Colts are looking better than we thought. Well, not you.
I did have him as a wild card team, but still, I think I was actually one.
Yeah, although I don't think you
The rare one to
assumed
pick
that
up.
Joe Flacco was going to be the one to lead the
No.
team to that.
No.
But
I guess we'll see.
yeah, that's how it goes.
But hey,
But yeah, other than that, though, I mean, other than just a few teams, I think we each had about 2 teams.
well, I
that
would
were,
say
where we
I
were
think
wrong on, but-
division-wise, we were looking pretty good. Other than you picking the
I
Jets.
picked the Jets.
Wild card, we each have a team. I think because was the only one who picked the Colts. They could make it.
Mhm.
You picked the Broncos.
I picked the Steelers.
You picked the
Yeah.
Steelers.
All of
So-
which are going to
Yeah,
at least
At
look
least
like
probably
they're making the
2
playoffs.
of them probably
Yeah.
will.
Yeah.
And we obviously had a couple other bad
So
picks in
honestly,
our wild
we're
cards.
pretty
But
even.
I'd say we did pretty good there.
So
yeah,
not bad,
we're all
though.
very even
Yeah.
with each other as far as what we got a couple wrong, got a couple right. So, but moving on
To the
we're gonna
NFC
move over
now.
to the NFC.
we'll start with the East.
NFC East is going
Yeah.
swimmingly. I have never been happier to be wrong.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. Let's just say, me and Devin picked the Eagles. You picked the Cowboys.
Which is not looking good. Like
Um,
which, thank goodness, I am so glad I
Yeah.
got that pick.
Hey.
wrong. Screw the Eagles.
I was
Or
right about the Cowboys.
Well, Cowboys.
Well, both of them. But yeah, Cowboys are not looking as good. Whereas
The
the Commanders.
Commanders have looked amazing.
We-
Dude,
we just
all
got-
talked about CJ Stroud having
I was
a
just
good
about to
rookie
say that.
season.
We just talked about Stroud.
Dude, Daniels is looking. I mean,
Just as
it's
good, if
we're
not better.
halfway through the season, and right now he's 4th in the MVP odds.
He's definitely going to
And
win Offensive
Mahomes
Rookie of
is,
the Year.
and you got to remember, Mahomes is in that conversation because he's
should be.
Mahomes, and he should
should
be.
be, yeah.
So realistically, he's 3rd in the MVP
Well,
conversation.
realistically, right now it's Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Jane Daniels.
Yeah.
or rookie.
Yeah, so
Like, it's insane. Our offenses look phenomenal. I think we have the highest scoring offense in the league.
probably
Yeah,
because I
that
know your
one's
point
impressive.
differential is great.
We do.
And your
We
defense
have,
isn't.
we have it by 1 point. We are 1 point higher than the Buccaneers. We have 1 more point
Wow.
scored.
So,
we are
there you
the
go.
highest scoring
Well, that's
offense
in
in the NFL.
That's in the NFC.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, because the AFC does not have anywhere near close to that.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh wait, no, the Ravens.
The Ravens?
The Ravens have us beat by 6 points.
Okay, but still,
So 1 touchdown.
Well,
but still,
whatever.
Still, we
Still,
had
yeah,
the worst
still.
offense in the league last year. And our defenses looked really good. I mean, not great, but it's middle of the road. I think we're about 15th.
actually,
to 13th
your
in most
defense
categories.
has surprised as far as your guys
compared
are
to
great, but
last year. That's
honestly,
the thing.
I thought you guys were
Like,
defensively going to be pretty
we
bad.
were dead last in every defensive category last year. If we weren't dead last, it was bottom 3. And we're middle of the road this year. But in offense, we are top 5 in everything.
Yeah.
Everything. And last year we were dead last in all offensive categories.
Yeah.
It's just
So the
it's
1-year turnaround is
insane.
insane.
Mhm.
It's insane. We're leading the division. People have us at, they have Jaden Daniels as a lock for Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
And it looks like we're going to win the division.
And I'll say
Yeah.
it's going to be between the Eagles and the Commanders.
Oh, yeah.
None of us even picked the Commanders as a playoff team.
No.
I mean, because we didn't. Even you as a fan. I
Even
mean,
me
you
as a
didn't-
fan, I
you
was
didn't-
like,
yeah.
I'm trying to be realistic.
Yeah.
This season has not been good for my, realistic expectations. Put it that way.
But in a good way.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Yeah. But
Like-
next, just behind them is the Eagles, and you guys
Yeah.
haven't played the Eagles yet,
Mm-mm.
right? So you still got to play them
No,
twice.
I
so
believe we play them in 2 weeks.
so that's gonna be a huge
Actually,
game.
I'm kind of curious. I
Yeah, you can
think
click
it's
on your
2 weeks.
schedule.
Oops. No, we play.
3
We
weeks.
pay 3 weeks.
3 weeks,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
Okay. Oh man, we only have a Sunday and then a 4-day later game. It's a Thursday game. That sucks. Oh man, we're gonna play them on short. Oh man,
On a short
our
week,
schedule
yeah.
coming up. So we have the Giants, which is really easy, and then we have the Steelers and the Eagles and the Cowboys, all within a 2-week span because we have a short rest week.
Well, we'll say that division will
Hey,
get sorted out real
if we're
soon.
still only at 2 losses after that, I would say that we're gonna definitely make the playoffs.
But either way, I still think the Eagles. While I don't trust them to make the Super Bowl,
I think they're gonna make playoffs.
I still think they're even if they don't win the division, gonna make it to the playoffs. Yeah. So that's not a bad pick. Now the Cowboys.
They have not looked good.
And I'll say I was the only one that did not pick them at all to make the playoffs, and they have proven me right.
In our video of doing that I was like,
you're not picking the Cowboys.
I don't like the Cowboys, but I'll pick the Cowboys because I think they're gonna do good. I'll put my my hatred aside.
Yeah,
I shouldn't have. That goes to show hatred is a valid feeling.
I was gonna say because you even
take away.
I even remember I remember you looking at me and be like, wow, no Cowboys. Like I just don't trust them. And hey. I was right about that. Not looking good. Now, again, they could eventually, maybe if they turn their season around, sneak into the wild card. But at this point, it's not looking good.
It's not looking like that's going to happen. And the Giants have just looked atrocious.
And the Giants are the Giants.
I think we all knew they were going to be bad. But the Eagles, something we didn't touch on, the Eagles with Saquon Barkley, that is just an amazing pairing.
Yes.
I mean, he has been playing phenomenal. Top 3 running back in the league. But other than that, and the Commanders being surprising,
you know what's actually
pretty normal.
A division that's really been surprising so far is the next division.
Yeah.
The NFC West has been.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Well, I know a lot of it. We all picked the 49ers. And
which still
they still should. I think still should win the division.
Like as far as key players being injured, they are the worst team.
Yeah.
Brandon Ayuk gone.
For a season.
Christian McCaffrey didn't even play a game.
Hasn't yet. He should come back.
But
Samuel and Kittle have been in and out. Jennings has been out.
Of course, nobody knew who Juwan Jennings was before the season.
And even their Jordan Mason, their second string running back, got hurt in this past game, and now they're
still 4-4.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about them.
they'll be good.
Even if they don't win the division, they're gonna make playoffs.
And if they do, don't take their record into consideration because they'll be more dangerous.
Yes, they could.
Than they look.
And then the Cardinals
are currently at the top, which is
which I believe is just because of their.
Yeah, it's gonna the way
they're
this
all
division.
tied. 3 of the teams are tied.
And then a lot of them still have to play each other. So this division is kind of confusing right now. But you did pick the Cardinals.
I did pick the Cardinals,
as a
and
wild
they
card.
have actually looked pretty good. Although they are one of those teams where you never know which Cardinals are you going to get week to week. You know? Are you going to get the team where Kyler Murray looks phenomenal, throws the ball great, Marvin Harrison has 100 receiving yards, or are you going to get the Cardinals where they score 3 points and do nothing else? And turn the ball over 7 times and whatever, stuff like that.
They're hard to predict. That's for sure.
But again, they are one of the younger teams. Kyler Murray has been in and out of injury for a while.
And now that he's been back, he's looked pretty good, honestly.
Well, Marvin Harrison's starting to get into the swing of things. He's looking really good.
I think their biggest issue is not only has their offense, even though it's good, not been consistent, but then their defense hasn't been great either. Yeah. So.
And then the next team would be the Seahawks, which you actually
I picked as a wild card.
And yes. They do. I mean, if any division in. Well, no.
Any of these teams could.
I think one of them's
going to
get a wild
as
card.
well as the next division we're going to get to, as well as the NFC North is playing, they're probably going to get at least 2 wild cards.
So I think this team may only get 1. North could get all the wild cards at this point. Yeah, sure. We'll see. But, I had the Seahawks as a wild card. Now, my Bills just beat them pretty good. But they're kind of a lot like the Cardinals. They have... They're roller coasters. They have one great week, and then they're kind of next week they kind of don't look great.
I think if you look at their quarterback situation, the years' experience are very different because Geno Smith's been in the league for quite a while. He hasn't been good for very long. I think probably only 2-3 years. But it's one of those things where skill level wise, they could go out and have a 350-yard 4-touchdown game, or they could have an 80-yard 3-pick touchdown game. They're not super consistent, but they're good enough to get you somewhere.
I agree.
The rest of the team just has to play up to that level.
And the Rams are at the bottom, and again,
which I do believe is mostly because of injury. I
agree too.
Cooper Kupp both would have stayed healthy.
Well, and they finally just came back.
Is back.
And they both came back and they beat the Vikings.
Yes, which up until that point were undefeated and they looked great.
Well, they
So-
lost. Now the Vikings lost their last two because they lost to Detroit.
Oh yeah,
the
they
week
did. I
before,
forgot they
but
lost to Detroit the week.
It was.
before.
I know it was a short
You're right.
week. So,
Mhm.
but yeah. Anyway,
They
so they could be
Who
kind of
knows?
sneaky. You never know. I think
So this
both the 49ers and the Rams could be the best two teams, but
The-
injuries have derailed that. And then
Yeah.
the Cardinals and Seahawks are middle of the road teams
The
that could.
division is just-
So that
you
division
know.
is kind
It's
of
so
weird.
close at this
Yeah.
point in the season, you really can't say what's going to be what.
Also, I just realized I also did pick the Rams the wild card as well. So
Which is, I mean, halfway through the season, I wouldn't call that.
yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, I
unreasonable.
wouldn't say it's
Yeah.
impossible.
I would say the jury's still out on those picks.
yes.
Mhm.
So I think so far all the divisions we broke down, that's the most confusing. So
The
far.
next one
Now this division looks
is
awesome.
the craziest
Yeah.
one.
Yes.
The NFC North, which is looking like the best division in football, although some of the teams have yet to play a real opponent.
Well, and
And
some of
even
the,
when
and
they
these
have,
teams
they've
have to
lost.
play
Play
each
each
other.
other.
Yeah, because
A
they
lot,
haven't
too.
really
They're gonna
played
give
each
each
other
other
I mean,
losses.
there's been a couple divisional games,
Yeah.
but yeah, a
So
lot more to go.
I think we all had the Lions.
We
Yeah.
did all have the Lions winning, which
And
I'm confident in.
The Lions are looking like the
I
best
honestly
team
think
in the NFL.
I honestly think the Lions are the best team in the NFL
I mean,
right now.
they may
Yeah.
not be undefeated while the Chiefs are undefeated, but if you threw both these teams against each other, I would put my money on the Lions 9
Yes.
times out of 10.
Yeah.
Like they have been playing so. Jared Goff is looking like he's going to be MVP. Like
I
he's
think-
playing MVP
yeah, I
level
think
ball anyway.
The biggest reason why he's not at the top of the MVP discussion is
Well,
just
he
because
did-
they're relying on the run
Yeah.
game so much. Whereas,
well, and the other day he did have an 80-yard game.
yeah,
Granted,
but
they scored 58 points.
well, they didn't need him to do. That's the
But-
thing. Their run game's great. Their special teams great. Their defense is great. I mean, they're a great team.
Special teams.
Their
Like
special teams
crazy.
have been phenomenal.
Yes.
They had like almost 3 punt
Well,
returns.
one
Yeah.
one
Well,
went
which
back
is
for a
why
touchdown.
he-
The other one
he
almost
had-
did, and then
Yeah, which is why they scored like
Yeah.
50-something points and he only had 80
Yeah.
yards
Mhm.
because he didn't.
well,
need to
and
have
Gibbs
more.
had a long touchdown run.
So-
Montgomery had so,
He didn't have to do much.
Mhm.
and I think Montgomery had a touchdown pass himself. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
yeah, which
anyway.
is so funny.
But his completion, he's been efficient though. That's the thing.
Very efficient. Yeah.
And so when you have a good balanced team and a good running game
Mhm.
like they do, all they need Goff to do is be efficient
he needs to be a
and
system
deliver the
QB.
ball, and he has done a great job at that. And so the Lions are a scary team. There's no doubt about it.
They definitely have the best scheme, I would think, right next to probably the Commanders. I would say their offensive scheme fits their personnel
Yes.
so well.
They know
that
what they
if
are.
someone's having an off day,
Yeah.
someone else steps up to take.
And it's
fill in
hard
the
for a
role.
defense
They have a
to
lot.
know how to stop them because
Yeah.
they can do anything.
Yeah.
You know, they can attack you in any way. And also, their play calling has been phenomenal too, as far as they just keep a defense on your toes.
Well, and then everybody was scared when Aiden Hutchinson went out for the season, but their defense is still
Yeah.
pretty great.
I mean, that is a big loss, but it's
It
still
is,
their defense
but
is still good. So
He's still been playing really well, or they have still as a team
Yes.
been playing really well. But
now next is the Packers,
Which
who
also-
I think I had
We all
them as
had
a,
him.
we all had
You
him
did.
as a wild card. So
which I mean they're 6-2. Jordan Love has been looking.
well,
great.
what's crazy
I
is
mean,
Jordan Love has looked good when he's played, but he's been in and out with injury. But even without Jordan Love, when Malik Willis is coming, they still look just as good.
they do.
Yeah.
So that Packer and they're young. We talk about the
They're
Packers;
really
they're a
young.
really young team. So we saw what they did, made
The
a run
future's
last year.
looking bright, and right now
It
they
is.
have a very good record. So I don't, they're
Yeah.
playing great, and they've only got up to go, which is the crazy
Yes.
part.
And as of right now, we got it right with the Lions win division. Packers we have as the first wild card, so that's looking good. But nobody
These teams,
expected
no.
Minnesota
The Vikings
to have as good of a
Sam
start.
Sam
Yes.
Darnold looks amazing.
And the funny thing is, we talked about this division have the potential of being great, but the one team we really didn't talk about, we thought was going to be good, was the Vikings, and they've been
Yeah,
just as
they
good. As,
actually, 2 weeks ago, you would have said
They
they
were
were
the top.
probably the best team.
now,
in the
mind you,
league.
they lost by 2 points
To the
to the Lions,
Mhm.
and then they had on a short week. They lost to the Rams, who
have
got some guys back
Yeah.
healthy.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, they
Well, through the first 5 weeks of the season, Sam Darnold was in the MVP conversation.
Well-
He's not anymore,
yeah.
but he's still, I would say right now, stat-wise, he's still a top
The thing is,
8
Sam
quarterback.
Darnold has
I mean,
looked good. He's gotten the ball to their weapons. Justin Jefferson, Aaron Jones stepped in as their new runner,
Yep.
looked great. And that the biggest thing to me is their defense
Yeah.
has actually looked phenomenal. Now that's kind of what let them down in that loss to the Rams. But when their defense is playing good, which is what they had for the first 5-6 weeks of the season,
Yeah.
with Sam Darnold being efficient on offense, They look pretty dang
They
good.
look
So
very good. And then even the last team,
The last team
division,
still
the
looks
Bears,
good.
still have a winning record. So this whole division has.
and mind you, they got a rookie quarterback, so they're still. The future looks pretty bright for them too. Now they did just lose
They just
a
lost
heartbreaking your team,
an amazing game.
which we'll
to the
probably
Commanders.
talk about in our next video. But no, even with that, they as good as the Commanders have been, the Bears just showed that they can compete amongst
with
the
a good
best in the
team.
NFC.
Which I think, that game was good for the Bears and the Commanders because for the Bears, it showed that they can compete with a good team, and the Commanders showed that they can beat a good team because everybody's like, oh, they haven't beat anybody. Which
and what's great too is you got
whatever.
the top two rookie quarterbacks going against each other, and it just showed that
they both played.
the future of the
decent.
league is great, and that was a great game, awesome finish. But the Bears, despite the heartbreaking loss, still in the mix there.
Yeah,
I know that can kind of be demoralizing losing like that, but they still got to come back, bounce back from that, and
Caleb
see how they do.
Williams did not take the loss very well.
No, and we were kind of I'm not the biggest fan of Caleb Williams,
either.
but I do gotta say you can't see his potential.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like in this game, he did not. He got over, or if it wasn't over, it was close to half of his yards in one drive.
Yeah.
At the end of the fourth quarter.
He honestly didn't play.
He didn't have.
Great.
He did not have 100 yards until halfway through the fourth quarter.
Well, and he did enough for his team to win, but at the same time,
He
the
almost
Commanders
tries to do too much. He tries to do things that he did in college, where like he's about to get sacked and he just runs around. And in college, you can get away with that because you're never playing top level talent across the whole team.
every
They
game.
might have a really good position here or there. In the NFL, everyone is a top talent. It's the NFL.
Yes.
So you can't do that, and I think he still hasn't learned that yet.
Well, and I think too, like we talked about before we started recording, is while the Bears should have won that game, at the same time the Commanders outplayed them.
Oh, they
just
Commanders should have won that game.
They
like
just couldn't
38 to
couldn't
12.
finish in the red zone, had to settle for a lot of field goals, and that's what kept the Bears in it. Now, mind you, they scored to take the lead, and then the Hail Mary. But so I don't know. There's a lot of positives to take from that game from both teams, but it's demoralizing, like I said, for the Bears. But they still have the potential to bounce back from that. We'll see what they do in the next couple of weeks, especially when they got to face some of these other divisional opponents. That's really going to be interesting.
That's going to be the part where they could come out very good or
yes. So North, great, probably the best division in football. Still a lot up in the air there. So our final division to go over is the NFC South.
And I think
we picked the Falcons and you picked the Buccaneers, which
still possibility.
Yeah, who knows?
Now, mind you, the bad thing for the Buccaneers is not only their injuries, but the Falcons have also beat them twice already. So that's
even if they finish with the
yes.
same record.
So the Falcons have the tiebreaker against them.
In the way the NFC North is playing, there may not be too many wild
cards
spots to go around.
Yeah. So that's the unfortunate thing for the Buccaneers. But either way, not bad picks by us. The Falcons are in first. Buccaneers have looked great. It's just they had a heartbreaking loss in overtime on Thursday night to the Falcons in Atlanta. Got beat up, lost to the Ravens. They lost most of their weapons, and then they lost again at home to the Falcons. So kind of unfortunate there. But Tampa Bay honestly has Baker Mayfield looked great. Yeah,
still looked great. Godwin has just proved how good he is.
Yes,
I mean,
and unfortunate that he's now out for the season with that injury.
Unfortunate.
And Mike Evans should be back, but I don't know how long.
Well, Mike Evans too has been proven how good he is. I mean, they're definitely going to struggle now. Although with them out, I mean, they played a fantastic game without them.
They could have. It's what's unfortunate for them is they still could have easily won both games against.
That's the thing.
They were in both.
Most of their games they've lost. Pretty much all of them.
They've
had a chance to win.
Yeah.
And mind you, they are one of the two losses to the Commander. Mind you, that was week one. They early on too. They were one of the losses or the only loss for Detroit. They were the team that beat them.
The only team that beat them.
Yeah.
So they've had some good wins, but consistency can they, especially with the injuries and losing those games to Atlanta, can they?
Can they bounce back from that? I don't see them winning the division at this point. The Falcons have really turned their season around. The Falcons have looked phenomenal. They looked really shaky the first couple weeks, but they've turned it around. Cousins has looked phenomenal.
Well, I think Cousins just had to get his confidence back, coming back
Well,
from
and
the
it was
injury on a new team. Yes.
You know, off the injury, like you said, I think they're going to win the division. And like we talked about, I think the way it's looking, 2 NFC North teams are going to get it, and then the Eagles probably, or Commanders, whichever one of them might have won the division. I don't think there's going to be a wild card spot left.
Which
for the
sucks
South.
for the South and for the West
as well.
Yeah, but
just because
that's just how good the North is. Yeah. But at the bottom of the South, we have the Saints, which Saints are another team that they suck, but they've been beat up as well. I mean,
injury-wise, like
they're another team.
Probably the worst.
I mean,
they were forced to start Spencer Rattler.
Yes.
Which, you know, he's got potential.
He was thrown into a bad situation.
Later pick rookie. A bad situation with injuries. Nobody expected him to have to start.
Well, just think about this: the Saints, didn't they win? They won pretty good their first two. Now, mind you, one of those was against Carolina.
After 2 weeks, they had the highest point differential. They had won by the most points. It wasn't even close.
Yeah.
Since then, they've had the worst point differential.
But Carr got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Taysom Hill got hurt.
Yep.
Rashid's done for the season.
Yep.
Olave missed a couple weeks.
Yep.
So, I mean...
Well, what do you do?
Yeah, your team, that's the...
I think some defensive players.
Yeah, that's some defensive players,
so
too.
you're starting a rookie quarterback, or now you are. You're starting a rookie quarterback with a bunch of injured wide receivers.
With no weapons.
No weapons. And...
Yeah,
like,
it's
what
just...
do you do?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So that's kind of the situation for the Saints. It's unfortunate, but that's kind of where they are. And because of that, I don't think they're going to... At this point, they don't look like they're going to be a playoff team. And who's the team who's definitely not going to be a playoff team?
The Panthers.
The Panthers in last in this division. And we did not pick them.
Oh, yeah, believe it or not, nobody had the Panthers winning the division.
Wow. Now they got one win, which is actually more than some
Andy
people
Dolan's comeback game.
thought.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I the Panthers, we've talked about them before. They're just...
Bad.
They're bad. And we can even say rebuilding, but they're not even... I don't even... They're kind of bad.
So bad that they can't even say that.
Yeah, they're probably going to... They should have not have won the 1 week. And they got lucky with Andy Dalton.
Yeah, against the Raiders.
Against the Raiders, who are also bad.
The
second worst.
So basically, they're probably going to do something stupid in the offseason, trade away their number 1 overall pick, and just be.
Well, and by the way, I did just see they traded away. I think it's Johnson, one of their receivers, to the Ravens.
They did, and I just dropped him in fantasy football, and now somebody else is going to pick him up. I'm sure.
So yeah, we'll see, but how he does in Baltimore. But that's another. I don't know. The Panthers are just in a bad spot. We've talked about this before.
Well, they already had no weapons, and now they're going to have even less weapons. Let's just put it this way. They've almost, let's see, at 125, 250. They have allowed more than double the points they've scored.
Which is not good.
That's really bad.
So, in recap, I guess, they are obviously the last in the South. So, just kind of to end this video, going over our predictions.
I'd say
not terrible. There's a couple bad ones in here.
All three of us
but
are about the exact same on the percentage of correct picks.
And I'll just say, what I'm proud of is I did not have the Jets or Cowboys in the playoffs.
I'm mad I said the Cowboys.
Like, it's looking pretty good right now.
The Cowboys, and I was like, I'll be the
But as far as our
unbiased journalist thing.
But as far as our division winners, we look pretty good. On wild cards, even though we were different on the wild cards.
Well, I think we all had one pick where people, it was kind of a reach, and it looks phenomenal.
Yes,
I agree. With the Broncos, the Steelers,
probably.
You picked the
Seahawks. Seahawks or Cardinals there for you.
Mm-hmm.
Even the Colts could maybe still sneak in the AFC. So there's some picks there that
we all. I'm happy with all of our picks so far. I'd say we're doing better than we did last year.
I do. I would say that too. And I think we made our picks last year after week 1. This was before anything happened. So not bad. As a kind of a mid-season recap, we'll see what this looks like at the end of the season. I'm excited for that. Once it's crazy, we're already almost halfway.
We can only hope that the Commanders don't lose another game.
But we're going to do another video in a little bit, kind of just breaking down our teams and some things around the league. But this was, again, our mid-season recap and kind of our reaction to our preseason playoff predictions. So,
we'll see you guys in the next one.
See you guys.